we're very thankful that Pastor Vic is finally with us today. And very thankful that we're finally be able to be complete in the church. Christmas. Possibly the best time of the year for all of us. For some, they may be thinking the best time of the year is probably Boxing Day. I'm not going to disagree with you guys. I'm looking forward to Boxing Day too. With all the deals and all that stuff, but let's not think about that right now. Let's first think of Christmas. Let's think of the word Christmas. Christmas can't be complete without Christ. Without Christ, then it would just be plainly known as Mass. Get it? Christmas without Christ is just Mass. Now, Christmas, a time of giving, a time of receiving, but also a time of spending time with family. Now, this is also a time where we could be away from work and just be resting and have a holiday, etc. Now, Christmas has many meanings, but what does Christmas really mean? We all think it is a time of celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ. That's part of it. But Christ wasn't born exactly on the day of December 25th. All around the world, millions of people celebrate the date of December 25 as a day that Christ was born. But to many scholars, it's not so much like that. But that shouldn't be too much of a worry. Christmas is celebrated for a reason. Or what I'm trying to say is that Christmas is an invitation for the celebration. The invitation for this celebration is for everyone, but Christmas is not for everybody. Now, wait. Christmas is celebrated by millions of people around the world. But why is it that it is not meant for all of us? Before I answer that, let's open your word prayer. Our Lord and Father, we just thank you for this day you've given us, Lord. Thank you for this day of blessedness, Lord, that we are very thankful for this opportunity, for the new day that you provide us, Lord. May this day be filled with gladness and joy, and just be with us for the rest of the day. Just pray, thank you. So, why is it that Christmas is celebrated with millions of people around the world? But why is it that it is not meant for everyone? Now, this fits perfectly right into the first point, which they're kind of ahead of me, so as I've already seen, Christmas is not for everybody. Now, on John chapters 1 to 13 explains, He was in the world, and though the world was made through Him, the world did not recognize Him. He came to that which was His own, but His own did not receive Him. Yet to all who did receive Him, to those who believed in His name, He gave the right to become the children of God. 13. Children born not of natural descent, nor of human decision, or a husband's will, but born of God. It's a bit overwhelming just to hear that, but let's try to dissect what I just said. Verse 10 and 11 speaks of it this way. Christ, who is the manifestation of God, who created the world. Now, let's not forget that Christ is part of the Trinity. That God came down in the image of man as Jesus Christ. Though He did come down from the heaven, no one recognized Him. Verse 11, His own people did not recognize Him. Did not recognize Him. Who are God's people. Now, in the Old Testament, it can be clarified as God's chosen people, being the Israelites. But His people is where He would consider home, where He could potentially dwell in. His own people, the special objects of His love and care, did not recognize Him. A lot of people don't recognize enough to know because of this. The world is too excited about the celebration. but the celebrant is always left behind. We put too much emphasis on this pagan holiday that we forget about Christ. We forget that one important person about Christmas. We are forgetting that Christmas has the name Christ within it. Now, Christmas can't be celebrated without Christ itself. If there was no Christ, there wouldn't be Christmas. This is Christian. The word Christian itself even has the word Christ in it. Now, if the word Christian didn't have it, you'd be left with Ian. Ian's got nothing got to do with you. Ian can't do anything for you. Now, I've created the three letters I-A-N, or as I'd say Ian, into an acronym. So I am nothing, or I am no one. As Christians, we all know that we need Christ. Now, if you subtract Christ away from Christian, I am nothing. We are nothing. So let's not forget that Christmas should be celebrated with the most important person, that is Christ. Without Christ, Christmas is nothing. Without Christ, Christianity is nothing. So let's not forget Christ. With that, who then is Christmas meant for? Next slide, please. It's simple. Christmas is for those who are born of God. Going through verse 12 and 13, yet to all who receive him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become the children of God. Children born not of natural descent, nor of human decision or a husband's will, but born of God. To all that decided to receive him are granted the privilege of being children of God. Though nations have chosen to reject, there though are individuals that chose to accept him. Not individuals of nations that rejected him, but any other individuals from any other nations have chosen to accept him. All who are according to their liking means accept Christ. Receive from him authority and in him a moral value, which constitutes them members of the true nun to which he came, and as true children of God. They receive in acceptance the right which others lost in rejection. To believers is to accept as true. Now, this comes from James 2:19. Devils believe and tremble. But to believe in is to trust in and confide in. To believe on has the idea of motion to and rest upon. It is here the going forth of the soul upon and it rests upon. The firm basis of the eternal love of the eternal spirit revealed in the Word. Now, verse 12 also says this about believers. Those who believe in his name, those who believe in his name are what? Those who believe in his name are also given the right to become children of God. Christmas are for those who receive the celebrant and believe in the celebrant. So, two different things. Those who choose to accept Christ and those who choose to believe in Christ. Verse 13, the result of receiving him remains to be explained. The question of how could they become sons and daughters of God? What this is referring to is to refer to the new birth, or to the great change in the sinner's mind, called regeneration or conversion. We all step into that phase when we've decided to accept Jesus Christ and converted. Once we accepted Christ into our hearts, not just our minds, but our hearts, but our whole being is transformed, is converted into who we are today, which are we're Christians. What this also means is that we became children of God, not in virtue or natural birth, because we are children of fellow believers, or that we descended from pious parents. Now, let me explain that. We're not Christians because we descended from our parents. So, for example, my dad's a Christian. Since I was born from since I came from both him and my mother, it doesn't mean that I'm a Christian myself. But I'm a Christian for the reason being that I've chosen to accept and believe that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. Now, the term of the born is often used to denote the fact that we have rebirthed through Christ. Henceforth, we are sons and daughters of God. Although we may not be of the same blood, we know that Christ's blood is running through because of our decision to choose to accept and believe in Christ. Everybody is invited to join, but only those who meet the requirements will have the right to celebrate. Next slide, please. Finally, we figured out who Christmas is meant for, but we at least know who Christ is. Christ is the Christmas celebrant. Verse 14, the Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son, who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. Christ, is simply put, is the Word that became flesh, is the one that dwelt among us. The glory of God as the only begotten Son, and as the full grace and truth. Christ, who is the Word that was made flesh. The Word made flesh. Now, the term flesh expresses human nature as opposed to the divine, and material nature as opposed to the spiritual. And is for this reason used rather than the body. For there may be a purely spiritual body. And rather than man, for of man the spiritual is the highest part. Christ as the one who dwelt among us, in Greek, it would mean, in Greek, the word that would resemble dwelt generally mean tabernacle. Or in other words, sojourn among us. Or to make it easier to understand, to stay or live within us. Christ is the glory of God. This would be referred to as a special meaning, which is transfiguration. Now, transfiguration is a big word, but this word generally means transform. Christ as the one and only begotten Son, it's simple. God gave to us His one and only begotten Son, Jesus Christ. Finally, Christ is the full of grace and truth. These words do not refer to the Father or to the glory, but to the Word. The structure of the English sentence is ambiguous, but the meaning of the Greek word is quite clear. They represent a Hebrew formula expressing a divine attribute in the passage which is almost certainly present. So the thought here is a revelation of divine nature to Moses. Though we know who Christ is, we should know what He has done for us. Verse 16 and 17. Out of His fullness we have all received grace in place of grace already given. For the law was given through Moses, grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. Christ gives blessing to all out of His fullness. He has given us grace, hope, peace, rest, and joy. Those who lack grace are given grace. Those who were hopeless are now bestowed with hope. Those who were unpeaceful now have peace. Rest for the weary, and those that were once unhappy are now blessed with the idea of having joy. Christ not only gives blessing like this, but Christ also gives new life, as referred to in verse 17. Through the law in the Old Covenant that was given through Moses, and grace and truth that came through Jesus Christ. Now, the word "for" connects this verse by way of explanation with what he has gone before. The Old Testament thought of grace and truth has been already present in John 1:14. The fullness of these divine attributes has been beheld in the glory of the Word. The revelation of them, that is, the removing of the veil which hides the knowable, has been made dependent on the use of the already known. But this is the essence of Christianity, as distinct from Judaism, of a spiritual religion developed from within and distinct from a formal religion imposed from without. Of a religion of principles and therefore true for all time and for all men and women. A distinct from a religion of works based indeed on an eternal, the oneness and the righteousness of God, but is still specially designed for a chosen people and for a period of preparation. The law was given from without by the human agency of Moses. The true grace and truth came into being by means of Jesus Christ. Therefore, it is that we receive grace for grace, there being in him an ever-constant fullness of grace, and for the man who uses the grace, thus given an ever-constant realization of deeper truth. Christ as the Christmas celebrant, we should realize that the celebrantee of this holiday is Christ. That the celebrant has done many things for us. Now, I've listed many things on there. I've already read them out earlier. But the celebrant has done all this for us. But do we even have a clue that he's done all this for us? Do we even know exactly who Christ is? Now, we won't celebrate Christmas without the thought that Christmas had some requirements. That Christmas is not meant for everyone because the world forgot that in the world, Christmas consists of Christ. That Christmas should not forget of Christ. Christmas is meant for those who are born of God. And that Christ is a Christmas celebrant. Therefore, we should know who Christ is and what Christ has done for us. Now, before I go on, I'm extending my hand out to those that wish to accept Christ today as their Lord and personal Savior. Keep in mind this: the word Christian only consists of the name Christ. Christian without Christ is just left with Ian, like as I said before. Ian can't do anything for you. Because if we were to remember that Ian consists of 3 letters, I, A, and N. Together, these are I am nothing or I am no one. Now, I'm extending my hand today to those that are willing to accept Christ today. So if you're ready, I would just like to ask everyone to just close your eyes and bow your heads. Now, we are all sinners, but we all come together to believe. We know that one day Christ will come back to judge and save the lost. We all want to be a part of that. We all want to be a part of God's family. We all want to be known as children of God. But this Christmas, before we can celebrate it, we should keep in mind that we need Christ in our lives. In order to be a part of this holiday, that Christ is the ever most important thing for this holiday. So for those who are willing to accept Christ today, I'm going to say a prayer. Just repeat after me. Father, I know that I have broken your laws and my sins. I have separated me from you. I am truly sorry, and now I want to turn away from my past sinful life toward you. Please forgive me and help me avoid sinning again. I believe that your Son, Jesus Christ, died for my sins, was resurrected from the dead, is alive, and hears my prayer. I invite Jesus to become the Lord of my life, to rule and reign in my heart from this day forward. Please send the Holy Spirit to help me obey you and to do your will for the rest of my life. In Jesus' name I pray. Now let's just keep our eyes closed. And let's close in prayer. Lord, I'm very thankful for those that chosen to accept you today, Lord. We're very thankful for the opportunity that you have given us this great present to receive this holiday. The great present of being a part of your celebration. Lord, let us not forget who you are and what you have done for us. Let us not forget that this ever important holiday is meant nothing without you. Lord, instill in our hearts that this holiday is not meant for anything else, but for the most important person, which is you are. I'm very thankful, Lord, for everything you've done for us. That's the main thing.